Come out with us and play. Love your London. Have a banana. Hello and welcome to another little special. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of London Open House Weekend, which happens every once a year in September, one weekend. There wasn't really one last year; it was a bit of a washout for obvious reasons. So this year, it's called the London Open House Festival because it's not just the second weekend in September, but they're doing some things on the first weekend as well. Also, that's to help with some social distancing measures that are still in place. Today we're just going to check out, very close to our house, something that is involved with my alma mater, which is Queen Mary and Westfield College. Now it's just called Queen Mary College. And this is the Queen Mary Innovation Centre, and in 2018 this strange structure over here appeared, made of Cor-ten steel. Now, we've been showing quite a lot of things with Cor-ten steel in our episodes. You may remember the climate pavilion. You may also remember that fantastic residential building in Wharf Road near Angel. Other things we've seen, the Bun Hill 2 Energy Centre is another thing in Cor-ten steel. Anyway, so this here, locals call it the Hedgehog. It actually lights up at night. It's quite fantastic. It hasn't got anything to do with hedgehogs. First I thought it may have been a tardigrade, but it's not. I believe it's 4 cells and they're doing something. I'm sure it'll be explained in there. But as you can see, it's made of this fantastic Cor-ten steel, which goes rusty very easily. I personally really like it. I know it has its critics. In a recent episode, you will remember, very recent episode, you'll remember that we visited something called the Hauer-King house in Canonbury, and in that episode we spoke about a BBC documentary where the architect Will Alsop went around it in 1996. Quite a touching documentary from a series on the BBC called Building Sites. Will Alsop designed not just this, but this whole centre, this whole innovation centre. This is the pod that we're going to be visiting today. Now, Will Alsop designed all of this. Now, this is quite sad. Will Alsop died in May 2018. They started work on this in April 2018, so it was 1 month before he sadly passed on. I don't know if he saw any of it. It was obviously all prefabricated, and there were 13 sections that it came in. And I remember it had a police escort coming over the Dartford crossing. He may have been alive to see some of it, I don't know, or maybe we'll find out a little bit more. But it's very sad that this was the last thing that he was involved with. I believe there's a plaque inside as well, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Will Alsop, fantastic architect. Anyway. Yeah, I was just explaining about Will Alsop, just outside. An amazing man. Yes. Very, very creative. We actually went to a place, we went to the Hauer-King house in Canonbury last week, and there's a documentary about him visiting it.
So, Neuron Pod is designed by Will Alsop, the infamous, famous architect, wonderful, wonderful man who sadly died when we were a month into construction. It's part of an informal science learning centre called Centre for Cell, and when we opened, and our first learning space is in there, STEM Pod, and we can take and show you it. You can't go in it, but we'll show you what it's like. That opened in 2019. It's a digital, interactive learning space, very immersive, loved by kids and parents alike. And we've had tens of thousands of visitors to that, but our visitors wanted more than that. They wanted interactive, they wanted people shows and workshops. So we started fundraising to get a second space, and we got the Muse space so we could put something here. And so then we tried, and we had about 60-70% of the money, but we just couldn't find the rest. And so Will called a meeting, and he said to me, when are you going to get the rest of the money? I said, we're trying really hard. I wasn't going to give up, but you just get fatigued by it. So he said, well, why don't we try and do it for less? And so he redesigned it so it was easier, smaller, larger pieces, so it wasn't so expensive. So it was cut and sort of partially welded and assembled down in Littlehampton Welding, of Cor-ten steel. Then it came up here by transporter lorries. This bit that you're standing on, they had to close Whitechapel Road to get this in. That was done at 5 a.m. But most of it came to a lorry park and then came in late at night, and then it was welded on site. And then we opened. So we had about a really good year, and loads of kids and families and everything, school kids, etc. We also started an evening programme, which we hope to restart, a music and science evening. It's got a fabulous acoustic, so we had the Bach cello suites with lectures, talks and discussion on cell biology and how cells evolve and how the music in the cello suites evolve. And so then March 2020 happened, but we are now reopening and hope to come back bigger and better with more and more children. So inside you will see a little plaque to Will just as you come in, in memory of him. And we've got some of our explainers in there, and they've got some sort of tabletop activities. And why don't you...
Did Will get to see any of it before he died? Or?
No, he came down to Littlehampton.
Yeah.
So he saw it being assembled in Littlehampton, but he never saw it on site. Do you take leaflets about Central
Just take
Cell?
one. Yeah, just save the planet. Just have one. We live together, so
yeah, that's fine.
we're running out of everything.
I'll take one of these then.
I'll have a sticker.
Have a sticker.
I'll have a sticker.
So we are open for school children. So in this building we have our science shows and workshops, which for everything from 40-year-olds to teenagers. So the science shows have got names like Snot, Sick and Scabs, Gut Feeling, the Neuron show, of course. We've got a Neuron show in Neuron Pod, and we have workshops, we have careers workshops, we have a youth member scheme. In fact, we've been running, because of the situation, we've been running virtual work experience, and 2 of our virtual work experience students came with their father to the real thing, which was lovely. Just they left a little while ago. So we're busy during term time, and then during school holidays we're open to family groups.
How are you? Fantastic. And what is this? Because I think local people call it the hedgehog, but it's 4 cells, is that right?
It's meant to be a neuron, and those are meant to be dendrites, and you could say, if you know anything about cell biology, that's the axon, that's the sort of connecting.
There's one over there.
Ding.
There it is.
An artistic interpretation.
When it first went up, I thought it was a tardigrade.
No, a tardigrade would be bad.
It's only got 3 legs.
I know, yeah.
It's a marmite.
Yeah. I like it. I love Cor-ten steel, which is the outside steel. I love that.
Do you want to learn a bit about blood?
I'd love to.
Yeah? So we've got 3 different components to our blood. We've got red blood cells, which are these guys.
Yeah.
We've got white blood cells, which is this cute fuzzy creature, which is not what they look like in real life.
No.
What is that? What is that? A T cell? What is that? It is a white blood cell.
Yes, exactly. And then we've got little platelets over there. So red blood cells are used to carry oxygen around our body. White blood cells are part of our immune system. They help to fight off infections and other foreign objects. And the platelets are used to help clot our blood when we have any wounds. And basically, exactly. exactly. So here we've got like 8 different types of blood generally, and they all depend on these things called antigens on the surface of our red blood cells. So here we've got a O negative red blood cell, which means that it's got no antigens on it whatsoever. So we've got 2 different types of antigens. We've got A, B, and then there's the O, which means that you've got none of those, A or B. And then you've got rhesus, which is positive and negative. So I'll just show you.
I'm O positive, I think.
You're O positive. Oh, same.
Same as my mom. I'm an A.
Which one are you?
A neg.
A negative. Okay, very interesting. So this I'd say was O positive. So this is the rhesus antigen, and that's O positive. This we'd say was AB negative. There's all these different types that we've just got on here, and I'll just go through this. So O negative is the universal donor. That means that if you give anyone O negative, then their blood is not going to react to the type of blood that we've given, and that's because it's got nothing for it to react to. So generally we have these things in our body created by white blood cells called antibodies, which react to the antigens in our cells. Because O negative has nothing on it, you can give it to anyone and they won't react to it. So great to have a friend who's an O negative person. And then we've got our AB positive, and this is a universal recipient. Because they've got all the antigens, they don't have any antibodies, so they won't react to any other types of blood. So it's great to be AB positive and go, and if you lose some blood, you know that there'll always be blood to give you. And we've just got a little sorting game where you can put the different types of blood into the category for the donor and the recipient if you want to play. Yeah?
What he further kept on top of our head was instead of the big round circle, thin sun didn't really.
I like your shirt.
Oh yeah. The other half is phospholuminescent, so you need to hit it with a flash.
Oh, very cool.
Or near you.
Nice.
It says I'm dead. It's a skeleton.
That's amazing. Okay, so O positive. We just talked about this. Who can receive?
I can receive from O negative.
Yes, perfect.
And from O positive.
Yes, you and me, we don't have that many options. Okay, so if you're A negative, what do you think?
A negative can give to anyone, but they can only receive from AB negative.
So they actually can't get from AB negative because they'll react to the B.
Okay.
So none of the ABs.
Right.
They can receive from themselves.
Yeah.
They can receive from O.
Negative.
O negative.
Yeah.
And that's it because you're negative, you can't have any of the positives.
And you're A negative, are you?
Yeah, so you can only take from O negative and A negative. Yeah?
And you can give to anyone.
You can give to other A negative people.
Okay.
And at a pinch.
And AB negative, yes, exactly.
And B positive, obviously B positive.
Yeah.
And I'd say O positive.
O positive as well. O negative.
Oh, and O negative.
O negative is universal donor.
Of course, yes.
And B negative because there's they won't react to the B and there's no other antigen for them to react to.
Okay.
Yeah?
Fantastic.
Smashed it. Did really well.
Well, needed a bit of help, but yeah. Thank you.
They are very cute, aren't they?
Do you have a gift shop?
Bacteria with the cilia hanging off of it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think they're made by the same. Yeah, these sort of science toys.
Giant microbes, yeah.
So, Fran, what's happening here?
So we're just going to play a game of top trumps,
Okay.
and it's kind of looking at different viruses. So I'll deal out 4 cards for me, 4 cards for you. Okay. Right, so just keeping the top card, just looking at the top card. You kind of look at all the numbers that are present in the little table. And you kind of just pick what you think will be the highest, and then I put a card down.
Okay.
And if yours is higher in that category, then you win that round. And if mine is higher in that category, then...
Will I just look at the first card, yeah?
Yeah, just the first card. So you can pick any category of the numbers, and then you can put your card down based on that category.
That's a nice touch. It looks
Okay, so I'll put the card down. Oh.
So what so pick a
Year identified.
Okay, fine. So year identified is 1980. Mine was 1955. So since mine was earlier, I win that round.
Oh, you go earlier. Oh, I see. It's earlier.
Yeah. So
Oh,
the
it's
earlier,
later.
Yes. So this one is the
I would
earlier.
have said the two then.
So for the year identified, it's if it's earlier, you win. But for all the other numbers, the higher the number, then you'll win if you put that card down. And if I have a lower number.
The higher the number, I win. Oh, right, that's why I said 1980, because I knew that was quite recent.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Cool.
Kind of.
Okay, pick another category.
Okay, so it's got to be higher.
Yep. Unless it's the year identified, that's got to be lower.
Okay. Fine. Danger factor.
Ooh.
8.
Ah, danger factor 9.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to win.
Number of people sick. 1,900 million. Or 1.9 billion.
And I've got 2.5 million.
Million, but I'm billion, so
you win.
I win that one. Okay.
Well done. Okay, last card.
Okay, so it's the lowest in this case, the year identified, 1962.
962. Oh no. 1934.
Oh dear. Okay, well done.
Yeah. I think they have some of these decks downstairs in the shop as well.
Okay, they got a shop.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Store.
So when we have a school group come in or a public group, Stemple is unfortunately closed at the moment. We're having some maintenance done.
Yep.
But they would come through here from Neuron Pod. Obviously not many Santas in on a Saturday. But, and then this is our STEM pod, which floats above the labs. And I think it's a 16-cell embryo.
That looks like a blastocyst or whatever they call it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
Here, kill the X. Scientists' nests. I see scientists' nests down there.
So you do flu testing here, don't you? Or you do trials, flu trials? Is that right?
There were some coronavirus trials. I'm not sure about flu. Very possibly, we do a lot of clinical research. So, but there have been a couple of different COVID trials going on.
Was there any of the ones that are done here? Did they sort of contribute towards? Well, obviously they contributed.
Well, yeah, hopefully they contributed somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're the ones that have been hitting the news or anything like that. But yeah, I'll take you by the shop and we'll check with the more sciencey staff that we have.
And then there's that more pods.
Yeah, so those ones are meeting rooms, so not quite as exciting as our STEM pod. But
and can people go in all of these? Are there offices and stuff in all of these, or is it just?
Yes, the staff can book these are the meeting rooms up here, so you can book to use them.
These pods.
Yeah, well, this one is for central cell only. So this is when we have groups come in, we'll take them in, and there's films and games and interactives and different things that they can play on, all based around learning about cell science.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shame it's closed today, but if this event happens again, or if we have other public events, then we would usually have that open as well.
Okay.
I'll tell you, did you want to go by the shop?
Yeah.
We'll go down there.
It's right, you kind of go by it anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh yes, exit to the gift store.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
This is open all year round, is it, or just this shop to the public?
Yeah, no, this is. So we normally do shows for the members of the public and have schools come around with children. And normally students come help, so like myself, and we just help out with like facilitating the shows and like also like running the shop for like anyone who would like some souvenirs, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
You don't want that
Thank you.
cell here. You got all kinds of different things here. Brain cell.
Yeah, lots of cells, lots of viruses or bacteria. This is a very
that's very relevant.
Relevant one, yeah, for sure.
I love it.
That's for the.
So if you've got
COVID-19.
That is
the girl who's
COVID.
It is COVID-19.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool.
Do you want to get a souvenir of COVID-19?
Do you want a COVID-19 souvenir?
We've got so many souvenirs.
Well, why not? Let's have a COVID-19. There it is, COVID-19.
How much are these?
So COVID-19 is £6.
That's all right. I wish it were that cheap to deal with.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. All right, have a lovely day.
Don't share it with anyone.
No, I'm hanging on to that. I'm hanging on. Well, put it this way, don't get off. Get off.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. So there we go, we got our little COVID-19 souvenir.
I'm going to stick that on her.
Hopefully that's the only souvenir that we'll ever get.
Well, just keep taking your pills and your jabs and wash your hands and let the immune system adjust. There's nothing we can do about it. All right.
Okay, so wasn't that that was interesting, wasn't it? There we go. There's from the outside. London Open House Festival, not weekend because it's happening. I wonder if this will happen in future. They'll just do it over a number of weekends instead of. There's stuff happening midweek as well. Unfortunately, by the time this goes out, it'll all be over.
Well, aren't they sweeties?
They are sweet.
Scientists' nests. Support the scientists and buy stuff from them. You know, the COVID-19. They had nerve cells. They had brain cells. They had poop. All the good things. So this centre is right near the Royal London, isn't it? We're right adjacent.
Yes, right near the Royal London, and it's part of Queen
Our
Mary.
favourite hospital.
Part
We've
of
been
my
there
alma
a few
mater.
times.
Although I was at Westfield College.
All right, they help.
The
They do
proper one,
everything.
the arts
They
one.
fix your body. All right.
Okay.
Look at these neat little houses here.
Oh yeah.
Those are golden old.
Fantastic. Okay, on to the next place.
All right.
Thank you for watching.
Yay.
Hope you enjoyed this.
Come out, enjoy your London. It's opening up. Go out and support business, support the people, support your city.
From Acton Town to Wimbledon, from Brixton to beyond. Love your London. Have a banana.